Good afternoon, happy people. Hello. Let's do a quick sound check. And I do just want to warn you guys, I'm in Florida right now. The connection might not be super awesome. So if I'm a little bit blotchy and blurry, it's not you, it's totally me. So we'll just see if we can rock this regardless. Hi, Sue. Can everyone hear me okay over on Facebook, Instagram Live? Hello. Nice to see you guys. Let me just get my stuff together here. All right, we are good to go over on Facebook. You guys can hear me okay? Awesome. Well, welcome back. Happy 2018. What a privilege it is. What a privilege it is to have a brand new year in front of us, right? So good. So exciting to be here and to be here together and to take this time out together to jam most weeks, and just sometimes we join together to, you know, reset the mindset, to be inspired by each other. So whatever brought you here, I'm glad you're here. And if you're brand new, say hello. This is a broadcast that I do almost every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern, streaming on the HOLFIT Facebook brand page, and also starting this year over on Insta Live. We dropped Periscope. We had to, right? Periscope just didn't get the memo that it was time to take care of the people that were on there. And now they're done. I mean, they're not officially done, but pretty much. So anyway, welcome you guys. And if you are brand new, I'm so grateful to have you here. Truly, this is one of my favorite ways to connect with, for those of you that are in our community or brand new to our community. I love video for the way that, I love hearing from and tuning into people that inspire me through video. And so it's one of the reasons that I've committed to showing up with you almost every week, as many weeks as possible, to jam on things that are on your heart. So what you may not realize is that this show and the topics of this show, I basically do for you based on what you share with me. So I'm going to have my assistant post the link for you guys. If you have a topic or if you have questions that you'd like to have answered on an upcoming broadcast, please add them to the doc, to the queue, because we'll go through those as we get them. So today I'm actually going to take, I think we have about 5 questions from the queue. But before we get to that, something I wanted to open up the show just acknowledging is, with this brand new year and all that comes with it, all the good that comes with it, it's important that we have a plan of where we're going and what we would like to experience more of this year, and how we would like to grow, right? And so the Beautiful Life Blueprint, it was actually the last broadcast that I did before the new year. You'll see it as the last podcast over on iTunes. That was awesome to see the engagement on that. I think we've had about 40,000 views on that recording right here, even in the Facebook video section. So if you haven't watched that yet, and if you haven't really stepped into your year and what you'd like to see happen this year, have a look at it. I feel it's a very important part of the process with the energy of a new year. So, and this was something that was truly free, like no catch. You do not need to submit your email in order to access it. And actually something I've decided to do going forward, you know, for the most part, is to have no catches to anything I do, to create, to add value in the way that I'm feeling led to, and to just have it there for those people that need to find it at the right time. I don't know if you caught my message over on my personal Facebook profile yesterday. We might not be friends on there, so you might not have seen it, but I think there were like 600 likes to this post in like one day. And I basically said, this is why I stopped doing email marketing. It just feels like the 80s to me now. You know, where we are at now in business and in marketing, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, marketing experts all over the world will tell me I'm stupid, okay? But this is something I'm really feeling into. Our energy is our marketing. Our life is our marketing, not some awesome email campaign or click sponsored ad that we $5,000 into. And this is really good news. I hope that this feels very freeing for some of you, especially if you're brand new in business. I want you to understand the #1 rule of business today. And I'm telling you this obviously from my perspective, but I've been very successful in business. And I want to share this with you. Your life is your stage. Your best marketing is how you are living your life every single day. And this is the reason that people are going to join you in whatever you're doing, is because they have a feeling about you. They have a feeling of trust. They have a feeling of hope. This is actually having hope in something you're becoming a part of, whether it's, feeling like you have more hope in the vision that a leader has, or more hope in yourself, in your body, in your physical health. Those are the guiding, most important pieces for people that are going to join you in something. And they don't get that from a flashy marketing campaign. So I just, I feel like this year we're going to see a lot of shifts in business. Now, people are getting a lot louder, right? There's a lot of noise out there. Perhaps one of the loudest groups out there right now are the ones purposefully spreading poison in our world. They're there to take down the good. You're going to see a big rise of this until the energy of the good drowns that voice out. So just a heads up on that. Just like you're going to see a lot more people showing up in the space of just sharing their heart, you're going to see a lot of the negativity start to increase as well. It's already happening. I mean, if any of you are an entrepreneur and in business today, then I doubt that you have escaped feeling like like you're being attacked, right? When you are trying to create good in our world, it's going to happen. But it's really a call to action to let's stop hiding in inboxes, right? Let's shift how we are actually growing our platforms, how we're growing in our impact, to showing up and being visible. I mean, this is one of the things I often talk about with my team is, when are you going to get visible around what you care about? That for a lot of people is going to be what holds them back, is just playing safe, living in people's inboxes, but not in real life, okay? This is like really what I'm feeling into. It is like what's coming up in 2018. And I just kind of wanted to open up. And the reason I just went off on that little bit of a tangent is because getting back to the 2018 Life Blueprint, it is completely free, you guys. If you guys want to use it, share it, love on it, come back to it several times this year, there will never be a catch. And you're going to see a lot more come from this place from me. And I'd like to welcome you guys to be sharing a lot more in your own unique way, how you can add value to our world without a catch, without sponsored ads and ClickFunnels and trickery online. Just be you and rock that out. So I wanted to open up with just a few things before I go to today's 5 questions or so. And again, welcome to all of you that are brand new. I see we've got about 130 over on Facebook Live. 12 o'clock Eastern might be a tough time for some of you to make, but this is the time we do this broadcast almost every single Wednesday. So last week, I had the privilege of spending a couple days with a room full of people in doTERRA, that a small group of people that, if you have ever heard of doTERRA or really an essential oil, it's because of one of these individuals. These would be the highest leaders within this movement at the presidential diamond level. And we get together once a year to really discuss what's going on in this movement of natural health and providing hope to people. And in really the healthcare movement, the process of reinventing healthcare. This is what's really happening right now. And I mean, you guys, what you need to understand with doTERRA, and I hope a lot of you feel this within your teams and know this, truly know this, you are in such good hands. You are in the presence of, and taken care of by people who have the tap fully on. Their life force is flowing through them. And, these are people who have taken radical responsibility in their life to own their growth, to own their healthcare, to not expect that from somebody else, and to invite thousands upon thousands of other people to do that with them. These are people, as Chris, my husband, would say, were not born on third base, okay? These are people who have worked very hard to create the opportunities that are existing today to provide access to tools, to provide inspiration, to provide hope. Those people were in this room this week all together. And when I think about doTERRA and what is setting it apart, I mean, there's a lot of different metrics you can look at. From a business perspective, they are the largest and the fastest growing network marketing company today in the US, okay? So that's there. But here's the most important piece. This group is completely committed to innovation, to unity, to positivity, to coming together to do things that haven't been done before. And I've said this before on this broadcast, but I truly believe this, and it's worth saying again. doTERRA is one of the only, if not the only, company in a position to truly change the healthcare system as we know it today. Okay, so they are the largest body of wellness advocates in the world. And I you know, if you understand the power of that, the reason that doTERRA is in a position to truly impact change is because of this massive global body of, it's going to be about 7 million people this year. We'll hit that 7 million mark of people who are taking radical responsibility for their health and are teaching others how to do it too. And this is why, like, the negativity and the naysayers are losing their voice, is because you cannot disrupt that kind of a movement when people are living and modeling what they're talking about. You guys understand that, the power of that? And this was like so evident to me being in this room together with these people. I was so inspired by the direction that we're going in and how level 2 is already happening. Level 1, you know, if you understand the law of diffusion of innovation, if you don't look that up, it's basically a bell curve that talks about any idea or movement or brand or product or whatever, how it goes through this natural bell curve, right? Where you have your early adopters that take on an idea until it moves through the bell curve to the masses. doTERRA now is starting to enter the next stage of the bell curve, okay? So this next stage is going to be creating physical opportunities for people to come together and learn under different experts, such as general practitioners, but learn in-house how to take higher care of themselves and to have these facilities available. And so this next phase is actually starting in Utah this year. There's going to be 3 clinics opening, and then in 2019 starts the wave. Okay, 2019 they're going to open up 5 different locations. I can't tell you where those are, but they're 5 of the largest cities in the US that are going to open up these facilities for the next wave to happen. And something I took down in my notes when Dr. Hill was talking, almost all of the owners were there at this event, just sharing their heart, their vision, their why with all of us. And one of the things that I wrote down, Dr. Hill said, is, you know, we have a responsibility to move faster. There's a huge responsibility right now, not to, you know, on an individual level. That doesn't mean, you know, if you're out there sharing the oils and building a business, let's say, of a community of people who are educated around oils and their healthcare. This doesn't mean that you're not doing good enough, you're not working hard enough. This means it's time to get visible and stop messing around and helping people. Stop hiding, stop holding back when you know you have somebody you can help. And something I want to share with you guys, this is really important to understand the heart of the leaders at the very top of doTERRA, okay? I really appreciate and love that when you have a room full of people who earn, on paper, earn 7 figures a year, you guys, like, these are like the most brilliant minds in the natural healthcare industry on a paper level. They're recognized as that, but that's not what drives them, okay? What drives them is their desire for every person that they can impact to be free and empowered. That is the motivator. And I love that doTERRA doesn't celebrate, you know, millionaires, and because it's not about that. It's at any given point when you start to get really successful in what you're doing. Initially, for a lot of people when they're in business, money can be a motivator for a lot of people, because in our world, that is the measure of success, right? It's, even though it's not, it unfortunately is looked at as the measure of success. And I really took note of that this week. Yes, I'm aware we paused on Instagram. Let me see if I can bring it back up. I don't know. It says it's reconnecting. This was really evident to me that this is why, because you have, even in a room full of leaders who could stop doing that work any day now, they're even more committed to moving this movement forward and continuing to impact people in this way, because that's what matters, right? That is the driving force. And that just really impacted me. I'm so grateful to be in the company of people like this who care about what matters, okay? And I just want you to know that too. And even if you're not using doTERRA, if you're not building a business with doTERRA, this message is still for you, because there's a lot of good happening in our world right now. And I want you to understand that. Whether you look at a company like doTERRA and the impact it's having, or anything else you believe in, I want you to understand that there truly is a massive wave of good happening right now, where people are showing up at the right time and sharing their hearts and providing hope and providing access to tools. And it's only just getting started. And so I just wanted to encourage you. This was something on my heart this week, knowing there is a lot of good happening, and there is a lot more good to come. And that really solidified for me this week. So Jill, my assistant, I'm gonna have her post a link to a recap that a friend of mine, Jesse Reimers, posted this week about this, these meetings we had. I'm gonna have her add the link to Facebook if you guys want to check out her post. And while she's doing that, I'm going to try to get back up on Facebook Live. I think I need to come off of Wi-Fi. You know, sometimes we have these issues when we're not at home base. All right, live, there we go. Okay, and I'll come back and look through your comments at the end of the broadcast. You guys feel free, and I welcome you to comment, to share what's on your heart as we go through different topics. I just came in from a run, and I'm a little looking like a wet dog right over here. Don't mind me. Okay. All right. So the one other thing I wanted to share with you that I had the pleasure of attending was a live session with one of my favorite leaders in the spiritual health arena, and his name is Rob Bell. If you guys aren't following him yet, he has a brilliant podcast. It's actually one of the top podcasts. He was on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, I think just a couple weeks ago. Rob Bell, okay? So good. Those of you that follow him, you'll find the humor in that. So he's on tour right now, doing this tour called the Holy Shift Tour. And I actually, when I found out he was going to be in Arizona, where I was last week, I changed my flight. I think it ended up costing me almost like $1,000 to change my flight. I changed all my plans around to go and spend this night listening to him on tour. It's actually his very first night kicking off the tour. And I want to read you just a couple of notes that I wrote down from that night. I just thought they were so powerful, okay? So go sit back for a second. I just want to read you a couple lines from this, and then go check out his tour. Maybe he's going to be in a city near you. It's worth it to go, okay? You are the committee. Yes, okay. All right, so Holy Shift. These were some of my notes that I took down, and I just feel they're really relevant to a lot of the things we talk about in this broadcast, okay? So he said, we live in a world where if you can't explain it, it must not be real. There are things that don't explain the deeper dimensions of what just happened. There are depths of heart and soul and spirit that don't fit in the narrow categories of logic. They exist in the non-rational. There are dimensions of this life experience that cannot be explained through things like science, right? What do you call it when you have those moments when you are in the presence of something that leaves you speechless? What label do you give it? What box do you put that in, right? There is suffering that exists in the categories that you cannot explain. There are moments in your life that have shaped who you are, and for so many years you've spent time trying to figure out why they happened. But they're not binary. Something within us has a heavy, intense respect for the deepest forces of life. Because if you violate them, you violate something about your own source of life and vitality. There are moments when something is moving through another person and you are silent and all you can do is feel it. There are things that refuse to drop to your level of understanding. So I want to share why this was really relevant to the work that I do, and I know a lot of you do. What I'm seeing a lot of lately is a voice of opinion that the healing that takes place and the upgrading and the evolution that takes place for people using something like doTERRA, the essential oils, there's a voice starting to become louder and louder, trying to fit what's happening into their box of understanding, that someone like me is sharing and doing what I do for the money. And I wonder how many people I can trick into using these essential oils. There's a feeling of there being a concern that the work that we do with doTERRA is trickery because all the oils are pretty smells. So what's happening right now, it's a misunderstanding of the actual properties of what we're working with, right? It's an ignorance towards the earth. It's an ignorance towards plants. The very same people that will tell you something like a pure essential oil is only a pretty smell would be the same people saying that having a bowl of Fruit Loops is no different than eating a bowl of fruit. Okay, so you have to understand the logic, the type of the relationship that people have with the idea. Okay, but that one line, there are things that refuse to drop to your level of understanding. The reason I'm sharing this, you guys, is because I know a lot of you are sharing something that has changed your life, and sometimes you're challenged on it, and people want to put it into a box and say, that oil you're talking about is no different than the oil I could buy at the dollar store, and it's only a pretty smell. Stop trying to tell people that what you're doing is healing. And there's this moment of panic for you sometimes where you worry that what if they're right? What if I am sharing something that might not help people? But yet you can't deny how much it has radically changed your life. And there's that fear sometimes of trying to make sense of everything happening. And to people outside of a movement that's creating impact on lives, it's hard to understand what's happening, right? It's hard to put into words the movement that's taking place and the way that people are elevating and becoming healthier. Absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, when you start to focus on one area of your growth and taking responsibility of it, it's impossible to not have it affect all the other areas. So you're seeing people become more whole, and it's hard to put into words what is happening, right? So sometimes you have to sink into that understanding of there are people you're not meant to explain it to. And I want to share just, as somebody who is at the front of this movement. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not attacked, that I don't have negativity being put on my social media feeds. Not a day goes by. But what I had to surrender to a couple years ago was knowing I'm not here to help the people that might be swayed by those people. And this comes back to my initial, what I opened with today. Your energy matters. Your energy in your business is everything. And you need to, yes, you need to protect that, but you also need to have an understanding of the people that might be drawn to the negativity or the poison that other people are spreading. Help them find those people quick and move on. I've almost contemplated sharing negative articles that have been written about me. Because if I can help people understand who they are, if they're drawn to that negativity, then I was never meant to help them in the first place. So moving on, right? It's also why I used to love looking at who unsubscribed and unfollowed. I want to understand the who and the what and the why, right? But I don't do that anymore. It's just, it's understanding that you're not here for everybody, but there are things that you will never be able to explain to some people, and that's okay. It's not meant to be brought to their level of understanding until they have open eyes. Does that make sense? And so this Holy Shift tour, I loved it because he's cracking open the conversation around things you can't quite put into words, or you can't quite put into a box. When somebody writes me and they say, hey, Ange, I really want to get started with oils. What's a safe amount to use per day? Or how many drops of oil should I add to something? My first response, the simplest response is always, hey, start super small. Start with 1 drop, always dilute, always practice safety with your oils. But here's the real answer. Everybody's different. And we will probably not ever understand in our lifetime why these oils, pure plant oils, I'm talking pure plant from the earth where they're meant to grow. This is the only oils doTERRA produces. We will not in our lifetime come to fully understand why they are working so powerfully in our body. And so there's a barrier of entry for people who are trying to put the oil into the same box that they would put a man-made product, a pharmaceutical, some sort of medication. They want everything handed to them in this box, right? Because if they don't, it involves a lot of trust. There's like this trust factor people have to work through. And as I was listening to Rob Bell, I couldn't help but keep thinking about people who see the world in this binary way. They want everything just so compact and perfect, and they want someone else to tell them what to do with their body. Is the barrier of entry, you guys, right? So, anyway, you guys know my brain by now. When I'm hearing something, I'm always thinking of how it applies, right? And so that's immediately where my mind went with that. There are things that refuse to drop to our level of understanding. Anyway, check out his podcast, and I know it'll totally impact your life in the best way. All right, so let's go into some questions. I pulled 5 from the queue for today. Leave your comments and thoughts as we go. I love when you guys share with each other and guide with each other, because my perspective is only one, okay? So first question that came in, Ange, I love your weekly broadcast. Thank you. I'm a brand new gold leader with doTERRA. For those of you not in doTERRA, gold means this is somebody who's partnered with 3 other leaders, and they're usually impacting homes with about 20,000 volume worth of essential oils per month. Okay, that's typically what a gold leader has created. So this person's a brand new gold leader. They've been thinking the past couple months about creating a brand for themselves. Do you have any tips on how to do that? What kinds of questions should I ask myself? What made you decide on HOLFIT? And how do I get a clear vision of what I want my brand to represent? I have lots of ideas, no clarity. Do you have any tips? How many of you are feeling this right now, that you've started something and now you feel like you need to go back a few steps and brand yourself? So funny thing, when I first started HOLFIT, a lot of people thought my name was Holly. And the the reason that I chose that name for my brand is because it was the intersection of two things that I believe in, okay? No, my name's not Holly. I'm not HOLFIT. So whole and fit. At the time when I launched my business, I was coaching as a holistic nutritionist and a personal trainer. So I did that for years before doTERRA, okay? And before the work I do today. But I wanted my brand to be something that people maybe didn't quite grasp right away. It was something different, you know, even the actual spelling of it is different. And so when I created my brand, that was something that mattered to me, standing out, having something that was a little bit unusual. So even having like the colon in there, right? But holistic and being fit. So it combined two concepts for me that I will always believe in, and I have my whole life, that health absolutely must take place in a way where one area does not cost you in the other areas. That's holism, right? That's treating the body as a whole. It's honoring our lifestyle, how we live in a holistic way. So if somebody, for example, is chasing financial health at the expense of their relationships or their physical body health, they're not whole. And we're never this perfect whole being, but it is a perspective. It is a way we do things. And so holistic is a very important word to me. Being fit is very important. And I don't just mean physical fitness, but mind, spirit, body, being fit for what life is going to bring, okay? Two very important concepts to me. So HOLFIT, HOLFIT, that was the birth of that. And here's how I got to that. I spent a lot of time with a blank page, just putting words and beliefs and concepts onto this branding page. And so this is what I encourage you guys to all do. You are a walking brand every single day. What you believe in, how you live your life, what you talk about, what you listen to, it's all creating your brand as it stands today. So if any of you are feeling this right now, get a blank piece of paper, and every time something inspires you or you think of a word that is just something you believe in, put it on that sheet, that design board. Think about fonts, think about colors that are going to guide you as you brand yourself. And the thing that you want to stay true to, this is what creates a strong brand. You want to stay true to the experience you want people to have when they interact with you, okay? So what you believe in. So even my brand, HOLFIT, it's a little bit masculine, right? It's a little bit like it cuts right to the point, HOLFIT, even though I say it, right? My style is that. I'm not this fluffy, poetic leader. I get right to the point. I will tell you the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. And even the actual sound of my brand is like bump, bump. Okay, so this all matters. I wouldn't rush this process, but you're likely going to keep coming back to this very consistent idea of what your brand should be. Some of you are going to brand your name. Great. If you haven't done this already, maybe you need to buyyourname.com. So that was a decision I made 10 years ago, was to actually have a brand and not just brand Ange Peters. Okay. So because I knew what I wanted to create was going to take on a life form. I think there's a lot of things you could invest in to get clear on your brand. I would like to offer you a free tool. Like I said, I'm going to keep delivering this up. So my assistant's going to link up for you a 4-page branding exercise that I created for my team a couple years ago. And it just has some really important questions as you're thinking about who you are, who you want to help, what you want the experience of you to be. And you might even find that you go off track sometimes. Sometimes you're sharing things in a way that is not authentic to who you are. And so doing an exercise like this is important because it helps steer you back on track. This happens to all of us. And I think when we come across somebody who's in their genius and in their own branding and they're rocking it, it's tempting to think that we need to incorporate more of what they're doing into our own branding. And so, you know, you'll get a little bit lost. You'll go down the wrong trail with things. But, you know, part of this exercise is also thinking about who does inspire you and why. One of my favorite things to share with people, you know, when I hear from people and they say that something I've done or something I've said has inspired them in some way, I always like to remind them that the only reason it inspired them in some way is because they have that same quality living in them. So when somebody does inspire you, when you come across somebody's content and branding, and it's just like, oh, I love their branding, you probably need to take a tone of that in how you brand yourself. Not copy it, but look at what is the experience of that person that made you feel free, that made you feel excited and inspired, and how can you, you know, tap into that through how you brand. Okay. So my assistant linked that branding exercise up. You'll find it there. It's a bit.ly. Take some time and take a look through that guide. On Insta, I'll give you that right now so you have it. It's http://bit.ly/HF branding. Okay, HF BRANDING. Okay, question 2. When you feel like you have exhausted your immediate group of friends and family and coworkers, where do you go next? All right, so here's something to understand. Any of you in business right now, however you measure that, so if you're in doTERRA, you can measure how many people are in your business right now, right? Really easy. If you have 500 people right now in your business, you already have what you need to impact 50,000. Okay, so what I'm encouraging you to think about is when you use phrases like you've exhausted your immediate group of friends and family, what do you mean by that? What does that energy look like? Because yeah, maybe you have your friends and family who joined your business, but who do they know? Who in their lives have not had the opportunity to be more empowered, to upgrade their health and well-being? And this, again, this is a really important point. You're holding back for some reason from sharing with people. Let them say no. Go for an answer, right? Like, let people make that choice. Don't make it for them. And so when you have people that you've already welcomed to your business and what you're doing, how can you nurture those people in their context more and work through your people? In doTERRA, I've enrolled 520 people, something like that. But I have almost 50,000 people on my team. They didn't come because of me. They came because I nurtured and loved on my people who did the same thing, right? And that just kept duplicating. So it's not about you and who you know. It's about who you've already impacted and how you can continue to impact them, to impact their people, or perhaps just working through them. That's really the goal. Okay. Here's the truth. I don't care if you've just gotten started today or if you've been building doTERRA for 5 years. Anybody who is a presidential diamond in doTERRA could actually take your network and create another presidential diamond organization this year, just through your network, because they don't stop sharing and loving on people and impacting people. And it happens throughout they live. Like, you know, I'm not out there teaching classes every week like I did 4 years ago. In fact, I haven't taught an essential oil class in about 3 months. My last class was for my mom with her network of cutie friends. But I still connect and welcome about 10 people a month. I still enroll about 10 people a month into doTERRA, not because I'm teaching about essential oils, but because they feel my heart, right? How I share and how I lead today looks different than how I did 4 years ago, when I was where some of you are at, where you're in the doing right now. You're teaching and educating. I've got all that waiting for them because I've poured my time into that for years, but it's not why I enroll people today. So it'll change for you over time. You'll continue to find new people, new relationships, new networks as you continue to grow and as you continue to evolve and up level in how you're living, the types of people you'll meet, right? So don't stress over worrying that you don't know enough people. Look at who you already are in business with and figure out how you can start loving on those people more and adding value to their life and creating opportunities for their networks, their friends at the office, their neighbors, their coworkers, their cousins. How can they start to come together? I mean, it's endless. If you live somewhere and you love the idea of building shoulder to shoulder in your area and creating community, why aren't you doing seasonal hangouts or summer barbecues where everybody comes and they hang out together? Why aren't you doing that? Why aren't you creating that space for people to come together in that way? If you want to build online, what's your plan? How are you creating community for people online? What are you willing to do that? Sometimes people say, oh, I want this and I want that, and I don't know what to do next, and I don't know enough people, and all these limits, but they haven't actually looked at what they're willing to do to create the space for people to come together. Just gotta plug my phone in 1 sec. You know what I mean? They're not actually looking at what's possible. Anyway, I'll tell you from my own personal experience that when I decided, 1 sec, Insta, boom, there we go. When I decided what I wanted the look and feel of our team, our community to be, I just kept working towards that. I kept nurturing that vision of what I wanted it to look and feel like. That online space, what we stood for, what motivated us, what drove us, and I created opportunities for that to keep happening in the online space. Yes, I built, super a couple years. I was willing to get out there and teach and educate people on essential oils 2 to 3 times a week for 2 to 3 years, you guys. I was willing to do it. I gladly wanted to do it because when you live something and breathe it and know it, you're going to want to share it. So let that be your motivator for guiding people and helping people. And it won't always look the same. As your impact grows, as your team grows, you're going to have to keep evolving and changing. You're going to have to. It's going to be an absolute for your impact to keep growing. So just keep tuning in to what feels like the right next move for you when it comes to meeting people and helping people, okay? One other thing I'll mention is look at your calendar and tell us, what 1 to 2 networking events are already on your calendar. If you are somebody who has this concern right now that you don't know enough people and you don't know how you're going to build your business and you have nothing on your calendar that's getting you out there with people, then please don't ask that question because you're not actually ready or willing to do what it takes to meet new people. So why are you worried about it? For those of you that do have some great things in your calendar this year, maybe it's some events that you're excited about attending. Maybe it's trade shows you're planning to do. What is it? What do you have on your calendar right now that you could share with us you're super pumped about because it's going to put you in the arena of meeting new people? I want to share just a strategy I use. Whenever I travel, I invest in sitting in business class for no other reason than I know there's always somebody who's an influencer that I'm meant to meet, that I am meant to impact in some way. I always know they're there. So I invest in sitting in business class for that reason. Not because of the free food, not because they bring you a hot towel. I could care less about that stuff. but because I know that the person I'm going to be sitting next to is going to be somebody I need to talk to. So I put myself in the position to meet those people. What events are you going to this year that are going to put you into that arena to meet more people? Come on, you guys, share with us. Who's got some stuff in their calendar? I'm looking through your comments. I'm waiting. I know you all are wondering about this. How's my business going to grow? How am I going to meet enough people to build my business? Where are they? Well, what are you doing to meet them? Where are they? You're right. Some of you are doing Diamond Club in doTERRA. You signed up for that. You're like, what did I just sign up for? Well, I'll tell you what you just signed up for. You just signed up to have major impact on your current team, to build relationships with your leaders, and to get out there and meet more people than ever, even though you're scared. You said yes, and I'm proud of you because it's an important program in doTERRA. 90% of the people in doTERRA that have diamond-sized organizations did Diamond Club. Okay, here we go. Now you've woken up. Awesome. All right, now you're all commenting. Okay, a lot of you are in action around this. This is super important because people are not just going to show up for you. You need to get out there, you need to meet people, and you need to be the example of what you're teaching. Cool, Allison, hi girl. She said, I signed my kids up for 2 new activities this winter. Lots of new moms to meet. Brilliant, love it. Alina's gonna start teaching yoga. Great way to mix her passion and meet new people in her classes and impact them with her heart. Marcy, hey girl, is doing several spa trade shows. Smart. School events. Okay, you guys got to take a look through these comments. And again, I know we have a lot of doTERRA people on this, but this thinking applies. You've got to get yourself in the game. You have to look at what matters to you. Where do you need to be? Okay? The reason that I sit in business class is because I know, usually, I'll tell you right now, it's me and about 9 men in business, okay? That's what happens almost every flight. But guess what? I'm totally like, I'm ready. Let's go. I want to talk to these people. I want to understand their business because guess what I know? Most of them have a daughter or a wife that I'm going to be connected to after that flight. And so that's the space I hang out in because I want to influence the influencers. So I love what you guys are sharing. This is so good. Let this inspire any of you starting to feel like you're feeling a little bit stuck. Like this is your year to get out there more, to be more visible. Let this be how you do that. Find something that somebody shared. And I appreciate all of you who shared. I want you to understand something about why you've shared and how important that is. When you feel urged to share on a live stream like this and have your comment be called out or something, you've just welcomed a whole new level of impact and abundance because you're willing to help other people. And Reno, if any of you are struggling in this area, find somebody who commented, and I know that they would be open to sharing how they're doing that if you wanted to private message them. Okay, Insta Live, we're having issues over there. Anyway, all right, so I hope that helps a little bit there. Third question, what are some ways to detox children from sugars, processed food, toxins, etc.? All right, so number 1, you always want to cut back very, very small in a baby step kind of way, in small segments. So, sometimes I'm going to use this example. This is probably a mom who has had something happen that's made her feel like she needs to detox her kids, okay? And I mean, that's just kind of a catchy way of saying she wants to help her children thrive, right? So something has happened for this mom and she's feeling this on her heart. So the best thing to do is to start in an area where you know you could make just a small change, right? So if your kids right now are eating, 3 to 4 nights of McDonald's, could you cut out 1 a week? Could you make that 1 meal a week? What would need to happen in order for that to happen, right? So you break it down in that sense. Now, the most important thing with something like creating healthy children is to not think about it where you want to detox them, what you want to do is flip your thinking and focus on what you can do to remove the exposure to things that are harming them. So this is actually one of the main reasons people get started in doTERRA, is because they want to stop using harmful chemicals in their homes. So they might have a focus on creating a more green home. This is a fantastic place for everybody to start, whether or not you have children or pets. But very easy place to start for a lot of people is to clean up and get rid of the harmful chemicals in their home, so that the body is not working extra hard to remove those substances out of the blood. So you don't need to think about this radical thing you need to do of detoxing your kids. You need to remove their exposure to the things that are harming them, okay? So again, one of the best places to start is environment. Focus on the air they're breathing. Don't expose them to the harmful chemicals. And here's what you'll notice. Let's say you start with something like greening up your home. Let's say you get rid of all of the toxic fragrance and the air fresheners, all the things that are clogging up their respiratory system, things that are putting VOCs into the air. You want to start using a diffuser, something that's going to put pure essential oils into the air that are going to help purify and clean the air. I mean, this is like basic, right? You can read tons of research on the why and the how that happens, okay? That's a basic place for you to start. But here's what's gonna happen. You focus on that first, and then you start to feel motivated to take on other things. You focus on greening up your home and getting rid of the harmful things there. It's going to naturally cause you to want to start adding more greens into your diet, because you're starting to move into a place of alignment. I mean, I should have just opened up this broadcast saying this is the binary of the work we do. People, they focus on one area that they know is going to have the biggest impact, okay, on their family. So maybe that is getting rid of the harmful chemicals in their home. They focus on that area because they feel like, okay, I can do that, right? I can sub in On Guard cleaning concentrate, or I can diffuse essential oils as opposed to using Glade air fresheners. I can do that. So they start there, and then they feel motivated to take on the other things. And all of a sudden, this tidal wave of health starts to move through the home. And as they're eating healthier, they start to feel more peaceful in their home. They start to feel more loving with each other, because their confidence is growing, their trust in their body, their hope for feeling vibrant is all starting to come around, and everything's impacted. And this is how the whole thing starts to shift. So the best way to support the health in your home is to start in one area, do it really well, let that cause a ripple effect in the other areas. It's all there for you. It's all there for you. When you join a company like doTERRA and you start using the oils, you start getting rid of the harmful cleaners, you start getting rid of the harmful self-care products, you stop reaching for harmful pharmaceuticals and you substitute it for something more natural to see if that works better. When you stop drugging and start feeling again and moving through processing life and using tools to help you with that, you become a different person. Everything is affected as you start to move through that cycle. And it's an interesting connector to what we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast. This is, if you were to fit it into a box, like Rob Bell talks about, there's things that you can't quite put into a box, like how did that change happen? This is kind of how it goes for people. But you got to show up and you got to be consistent in one area to let it start to ripple affect all the other areas, and trust that it will. Question 4, what are your best tips for motivating and encouraging your leaders to lead and build? Model it. Model it. There's no secret here. There's no secret inspiration factor. The most inspiring thing you could ever do for your team is model what you would tell them to do. That's it. And share with them when you're moving through your own blocks, share that with them. When you're going to do something for the first time and it creates a lot of fear for you, share that with them. create a space for people to learn and grow and thrive, but you're not here to do the work for them. You are certainly not here to tell them what to do if you're not doing it. Let your own journey be your best form of teaching. So that is my best tip. If you want to motivate people, then get out there and be it, and they will be naturally motivated. But one truth I want to lay on you guys as leaders: you're not here to motivate your team. You're here to lead your life, to take ownership of your success and your health. It is not about motivating people. Let that be the byproduct of let that be what happens because of how you live. Don't make that your goal. Don't make it your goal this year to be an inspiring person. Make it your goal to live every day inspired, because that will inspire other people. But if you go at it backwards, if your question is how can I motivate and encourage leaders, chances are there's some personal work that you need to just do and let that motivate and inspire your team. I let go of that a while ago. I did used to feel like it was my responsibility to my team to coach them and help them through their blocks. And you know what, you guys? I shared this last week with the doTERRA Blue presidential leaders. I was on a panel and I said, 2 years ago was my worst year in doTERRA because I was on calls, you guys, for like 40 hours a week, thinking it was my responsibility, that I had a responsibility to my leaders to try to help them move through their stuff, until I realized everything I was working for, everything I wanted to create for myself and for other people, freedom and empowerment, I was not doing that. I was not free. I was not inspired. I was trying to motivate and inspire and help them until I realized that's not what I'm here to do. That is not what I'm here to do. I am here to be a connector and a creator and to own my purpose. And if I have leaders who are inspired by what I'm doing, that is what lights me up. Some aren't. I probably, just like you guys, I don't know. I mean, I probably have leaders who think I should be doing more around this, but I had to let go of that. And alternatively, I want to speak to those of you that do feel called to be a life coach of other people. Some of you that might be what's like really your jam. It's like what's lighting you up. Then you're gonna want to do more of it. You'll want to wake up on a Monday morning and see that your whole week is full of calls where you're gonna guide people and feel like you've played a really important role in that one-on-one individual experience. Some of you, that is your thing. And it might not be for the rest of your life, but that's your thing. And I've gone in and out of stages of my life where that totally lit me up. But honestly, you've really got to check into this. And what became super evident to me, what I wanted most for my leaders, was to be free and to live their truth and to live a life that is so inspiring. Not to seek to be inspiring, but who they are, through who they are, it inspires their team to live at a higher level, to be more, to be their message and not be stuck behind a phone 40 hours a week. This will take on a lot of different forms. And I was only going to answer this question with those 2 words, just model it. But I knew I needed to crack that open a little bit deeper. Motivating and encouraging others to do the things, to lead, to build. It doesn't happen, in my honest opinion, through a call. It happens through them seeing you lit up doing it and in your way, because it inspires them to do it in their way. You know that feeling when you're in the presence of somebody who is owning their purpose? You know that feeling and how it inspires you and you can't like describe it? It just, you just like all of a sudden you hit the pavement running, you get out there and you crush it because it was like somebody passed the baton to you. They're like, here, go do it. You got this, right? Because you're in the presence of them owning their purpose. Like that, I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with it. And I never want my leaders to have a year like I did 2 years ago. I don't want that for them ever. I want them to just wake up every day with this feeling of wonder. Like, here's what I'm going to create today, and it's going to create this massive ripple effect and impact. Like, that's where impact lives. You know, that is it. And it, you know, you need to be open to your leaders doing things different than you too. Like I said, I have leaders who probably super duper love it. They love being on the phone with people and coaching people. And I had to, you know, you have to look at what the ROI is of things you're doing. Like, what's the return on that investment of time? And, you know, I have like some of my closest friends who are also leaders in doTERRA. They're incredible at that. They love the one-on-one experience. They love the way that they can have a conversation with somebody and just like sets fire. And the thing I realized about myself is I love the idea of multiplication. I want to do something once and have it impact many people, right? So that's why I realized like the one-on-one experience wasn't my jam. I needed to create this is the broadcast, okay? This is why I show up here every single week with consistency, and it's why someone else might not, because their thing might be that like phone call, that one-on-one experience with somebody, that deep level 1 conversation with somebody. So anyway, does that make sense? Like, hello, I think like find out what motivates you and what inspires you and do that. And through that, you light that fire in other people. Okay, last question for today. We're like over an hour already. How many of you have been on the whole time? This is going up. We've got 170 people on live. All right, so last question, then we'll wrap this up. Ange, you are always saying how you are a self-led person, that you've always been. Do you think it is just in the nature of your personality, or is it something that you had to build? I've struggled with this for all my life. Didn't fulfill everything I thought I should be doing. I long to be a self-led woman with confidence. Where is the place to start personal development? Let me just think the best way to answer this. Joseph Campbell has a saying that I always think about when people ask me, you know, how do I build this business in alignment with who I am? And he said this, he has this quote, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it before. The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. So I want you to consider what happens when you live your life seeking the approval of other people. What's going to be the cost of that? And are you okay with that? I've been a big no to that for as long as I can remember. With that, I want you to understand, I care about what the right people think. So it's not that I don't care what people think of me, or that I'm reckless with, and that I don't take responsibility for who I am and what the potential impact is of what I do and what I say. And there are times where I get off track, you know, but I nurture my spiritual connection as much as possible to stay in check, so that I am caring about what the right people think. Like I've shared with you before, there's a lot of people that think a lot of things about me that I truly don't care. And I'd like to encourage you to move more into a space of thinking about who you are allowing up here and in here, who you are giving that role to in your life, who you shouldn't be. Part of being a self-led person, part of taking ownership is deciding what you stand for, deciding what you are willing to allow in. The toughest thing with this today is there is so much coming at us. There are so many people sharing, you know, what they think is right and what they think is wrong. And it's tempting, it's hard to sometimes be clear on what is right and wrong. And honestly, you guys, that can only come through stillness. That can only come through taking time. When you're feeling this, like this person who wrote in is feeling, they're feeling a lot of guilt of not being enough, not doing enough. And I'll tell you, you know, if you're living your life waiting for approval from everybody else, you're not living your life. And I think that it starts small. It starts by, yeah, Ingrid said part of her daily affirmation is releasing her attachment to everything that no longer serves her. And so a real easy practice to start with is to take 2 minutes a day. What if you just took 2 minutes a day and thought about your day and thought about what felt light today and what felt heavy today? And ask yourself why you're doing it. And are you okay with continuing to do that? Because I don't know, okay, last thing I'll mention on this topic. Some of you know my story. I've had very close experiences with our mortality. I lost my dad when I was 10 years old. He died of cancer. My baby sister died of leukemia when I was 16. I am very aware of how short this life is. I wonder if people who live with other people, and you know, I wonder if people who might fear that they're wasting their years, I wonder if they've ever had a close encounter with their own mortality. Because if you have, it gives you the strength to stop doing those things. If you are doing things just to seek the approval of other people, you know, are you wasting your best years and your best time? And I think you have to be quiet with it. You have to be okay with people not being okay with how you might decide to live. As long as they're, I mean, you want to keep a couple of really close relationships in your life, people that are going to tell you how it is. Hi, Amy. Oh. You need to keep people in your life that are going to tell you when you might need to just get back on track a little bit. You know those people. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's not your mom. Maybe it's a best friend who has gone through the really tough times with you. They know your heart. Those are the people to keep close in your life. There are people that will come and go in your life. Sometimes they come and go because they were for a season. Sometimes they go because you've decided what you're not going to accept or tolerate anymore. So you need to just be okay, because that's where the lightness lives. That's where everything that matters lives. Like for me, my most important leadership role are the two girls at the pool right now, right? Like as much as I love my team, I love what is happening in this movement, and I love loving on them. Those two girls at the pool are my greatest mentees. Ultimately, if anything I'm doing is negatively impacting them, then I have to change gears. I take ownership of that. And to me, this is where like the harmony of everything we do is important. There are times where I need to say to some of the most important people in my life, my husband, my girls, there are times where I need to say to them, you know, I'm going to be gone this week for 5 days. This is why. This is what I'm working on right now. And I need them on board with me in this. HOLFIT, hey, this is like my family, right? My whole team is my brand. My family is my brand. It all has to be working together. And if it's not, it is up to me to make some changes. That is what my brand means to me. That is what the calling on my life means to me, is that I'm clear that there are times where we have to put the pedal down in certain areas, but we have to also know when it's time to bring things back into harmony, okay? This is what ownership means to me. It is awesome. It is such a privilege to live today. Don't give that away to other people. Don't spend your days, your weeks, your life living for the approval of other people. Otherwise, we're not getting the. Don't let go. Let it go. Let go. What will people think if? You know what you need to be doing. You know your truth. And when things start to feel, hi Sue, when things start to feel heavy and draining and costing you what is most important to you, you are the only person that can change that. Your freedom, your health, your impact, it is 100% your responsibility. And if anybody's in your life making you feel guilty around what you know you need to do in order to have the largest impact, trust me, they will not be in your life in about 4 days. They won't. They maybe weren't supposed to ever be in your life, but they came at a time when you were desperately seeking the approval of others, and they're taking from you. Keep your circles small, you guys. This is, you know, this connects back to what I opened up with. Your energy is so important. When you have a conversation with somebody and you leave that person feeling drained, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your kids and to your business to not ever have that kind of conversation with that person again. It's up to you. That is ownership. That is what that means to me. What does it mean to you guys? Can we end this broadcast as a collective? What does it mean to you to take responsibility for who you are? And have you experienced that in your life? Have you experienced a fallout with somebody that you reflect back on and you realize, oh my goodness, look at all the good that has happened since I stopped seeking approval from that person? Sometimes a topic needs to almost be the whole topic of this broadcast, right? But I love the space that we create here for the real topic to stand up. And yeah, it's interesting. Something you realize when you come together as a community is a lot of other people are feeling the same thing you are at the same time. That's so cool. Keep your comments coming on this. And if you're listening to this as a recording, please take the time to share. I think there's a lot of power in what we put into words. Sometimes it's up here and we need to actually just put it into words and release it, because then it's in motion. Like, I always feel if you take the time to comment, what you've just stated has just started something in motion for you. Your time is all you have. Some of you are saying that, you know, believing that your time is valuable and that you can't afford to waste it. Your time is all you have. I want to share this from the perspective of somebody that, I mean, some of you think that it's about money or about success. Have you guys heard Jim Carrey? What's his, what did he say? It kind of went viral last year when he said, I wish that everybody could become a millionaire and super successful so that they could realize that. And the thing is, because through how you spend your time, you are voting for what you want, you know? How you spend your time. I want more of this, which is why I do this, which is why I want to, because what I want more of in the next 5 years, I want more real conversation about what's really going on. And I want to be part of the reason that those conversations happen as a collective. And so it's why I commit. It's why I show up. It's why my kids are at the pool right now, so I can have this hour with you, because I know how important this is. But then I'm going to be with them for the rest of the day, because this, you know, this is harmony for me. And I want to encourage you to think about what that means for you. You taking your time today. I need you to understand, like, I am so super grateful to all of you for taking the time to be part of conversations like this, because I know that what happens is, you know, you fill up a bit and you leave this conversation, and perhaps you leave a comment, and then you go out into our world, and there's this domino effect that happens throughout your day because of what you've just committed to, right? And this lights me up huge to be in this space with you, this like bubble, this tank, where now we all go out and we get after it and we cast good, right? And this is one day of your week. You know, what will it be tomorrow? What's your form of tapping into that tomorrow? Gotta go. They're here.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
Hi, Mom.
All right. I'm gonna close out. We've got a little long today. I'll be back next week at home base. I feel you guys today. Take what you're feeling right now and think about how you can spin it to impact more people today. Okay, love to you guys. We'll see you next week.
Don't shut the door.